Boxing Social here with Mr. Tunde Ajayi, trainer of Anthony Yarde. How are you keeping, Tunde?
We're good. What happened to Rob? Where's Rob? I scared him, innit? I scared him away.
Rob will be back. I just want to start at the beginning. Anthony had very limited amateur experience, but together you forged a very successful partnership, both commercially and in the ring. What have been the keys to that success?
I mean, basically, for myself, I think in the past I was looking for the perfect fight. I guess that's what most trainers hope that a great superstar walks into the gym, because I always knew that I had something. I think that my error was looking for somebody. I like to use the term serendipity because Anthony knew a close friend of mine, and she introduced him to me, and it's so mad how two people can just think the same, do the same things, have walked similar paths, and I guess that's the key to our success. We really don't need to try and change or advise anyone in any single area. We both just think the same, and that's a blessing.
It's a fairly well-known fact that Anthony's only had 12 amateur bouts, which is about 300 fewer than, say, WBA champ Dimitri Bivol. Does Anthony's limited ring time influence the choices of opponent?
Not really. I wouldn't. No, and I'll tell you why. Because I always, relate it to a person who has been studying for 10 years. And then some guy just comes along and achieves in 1 year what the guy has achieved in 10 years. It's really a case of desire and how much a person... There you go. It's really a question of desire and how much someone wants to apply themselves. It's well known that I've created a system, and I've said from the very beginning, any fighter that wants to learn, I have infinite knowledge. And Anthony has eaten that knowledge and continues to eat that knowledge because he's possessed with progression. And that's it. So it's not a fact that it's influencing decisions, it's the fact that I know that he's got so much more to learn and grow. And what's the point? I feel that you're only rushing boxing if you're not confident of the future. And I'm very confident of the future. I'm very confident of what I teach Anthony and what he... I say his own meticulous study in boxing, but everything is timing. Everybody knows that's my quote of the lifetime. Everything is timing. We're not rushing for no one or nothing. It's going to go how Tunde Ajayi says it's going to go, how Anthony Yarde says it's going to go, and the big man Frank, because he's putting up the money.
You mentioned there, you touched on your system.
Yes.
I know you spent some time out in the Mayweather gym.
Yes.
How big an influence was it working with those guys out there? How has that shaped your methods?
Well, I mean, you only need to look back at some of the videos from 2006 or 7. I credited the foundational part of my system to Floyd Mayweather and Roger Mayweather. I studied them meticulously for years, and then I forged and created my own system, because it's like I always say, you can't be another person, but you can aim to emulate them, and that's what I feel I did with my system, because it's infinite. So, with the Mayweathers, they have a system, and listen, facts speak for themselves. Undefeated, 50-0, the most successful fighter financially, and then in terms of boxing, in my opinion, ever. So they really, they was very influential in building my system.
Talk to us a little bit about the preparations for this fight. From what I understand, we've had people pulling out. Give us, how's it been? Has it disrupted preparations? How are you feeling going into the fight?
Well, this is what I always say. You don't focus on anybody else. Because it really hasn't disturbed us. Because I guess when Anthony goes on, the only Instagram page he's looking at is himself. Because that's all I look at, myself. So it's the same with training. The number one focus for me, I've said it over and over again, I'm in the Anthony Yarde business. I ain't focusing on no one. As far as I'm concerned, whatever happens in terms of opponents pulling out, it's meant to be. I believe in destiny. I believe everything is meant to be. And these fighters, maybe they look at it in the case of it's a risk-reward situation. I understand that because boxing is a very, you know, I would never say nothing negative about boxing. It's a sport I love, but you have to take time and be very intelligent in making moves.
Should Anthony come through on Saturday night, there's some decent...
Hold on. Stop right there.
Okay.
It's not should Anthony come through. When we come through.
We've got to remain partial, but...
There's no partial.
Okay.
It's going to stay how it's going to stay. And that's win, win, win. So, to rephrase your question, when Anthony comes through on Saturday, continue.
There are some decent matchups to be made, particularly domestically, the likes of Callum Johnson, Hosea Burton, Frank Buglioni, but they do reside on the other side of the promotional fence. Do you think the fact that these fighters are with Matchroom, it's going to be a bit difficult to make the fights? Do you see that as a problem?
Well, I never see things like that as a problem. I feel that if two fighters want it bad enough, and the fight is a fight that's demanded, and it makes sense for both parties, I think that can be resolved. I mean, it's happened in the past. I don't think there's a press. I think there's a, you know, I think it's happened before. So I don't think, you know, it's just a case if the fighters want it. If the fighters demand it, we want this fight. We want this fight. We want. But we've seen it so many times. Ricky Hatton Jr.
Who do you want?
This is what I want. And if I'm not mistaken, this is what Anthony wants. We want the WBO world title. We want the WBC world title. We want the WBA world title. And we want the IBF world title. And we are going to get it. That's how it is. Whatever name or whoever name is attached to that, when we contest it, it is where it is. So I can't focus on an individual because, as you've seen, people was wanting us to fight Nathan Cleverly and he lost, got stopped, and announced his retirement. So, and that's why all you young kids out there, don't focus on anyone but yourself. And that's where it is. You know, whoever's there when the time comes, when we're ready. Not Mr. Hearn, not Barry Hearn or...
What's your response to these circles of people who are saying, when's Anthony going to step up, that kind of thing? Do you listen to that sort of noise? Does it bother you?
No. I'm just being honest. No. We're too focused. We come from nothing. It's like I keep telling people, myself and Anthony, we never had no backing other than Frank Warren. We don't have an Olympic gold medal. We are not in Marbella training, running up and down mountains. We come from the scratch. So I'm not really concerned on what anybody has to say. I know that we worked hard to be in our position. And listen, nothing is free. That's why stamina for sale. You have to pay for it. It's not free. Everything in life, there's a price attached to it. And we've worked hard, so I really don't have nothing to say about positive or negative against anybody that's not in our favour.
Tunde Ajayi, thank you for speaking with Boxing Social. It was always great value. We love having you on the channel.
Tell Rob, come back, because we got some unfinished questions.
There you have it, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.